Oh, hey guys. Anyhow, so I'm going to do another video. And we'll start this off by defending my content creations today. I find it relaxing to do videos. And I find it relaxing and relieving to speak my mind. Okay? Because so often in life, I can't speak my mind. For example, on the job, when I'm on the job, when I'm in the cut, you don't get to speak your mind. You know, you could try, but you're not going to like the result. So really just keep your fucking mouth shut and get to work. That's all it is. Okay. And it's like, okay, you got to accept things for what they are. But see, now I'm off the clock. Now, I need to find ways to relax because I must revitalize. In order to be able to work tomorrow, if I don't get the proper amount of rest and relaxation, I will not be fit for work tomorrow. So, and doing videos, I find relaxing. Oftentimes, it's relaxing. So this is video number 3. Now, in this video, I don't have anything scripted. I rarely, if ever, do. I mean, dude, like it is so no. This is improv, always improv, which is why a lot of times, well, whatever. So what I'd like to talk about, in order so that I can relax, so I can get some relaxation and rest, is I want to just talk about, my experiences, things that I know about and that through my own experience, which any and everything I say could be wrong. This video is for my entertainment and relaxation and self-care purposes only. So do your own research and come to your own conclusion. So there, there's stuff that I know about my life, and again, I could be wrong, and like there might be things that I think I know when I'm perceiving them wrong, but that doesn't mean that everything that I perceive is wrong. So I'm going to be wrong, and I'm going to be right, and some, it's just the way it all goes. But and I actually have a lot of work to do here. So I don't even have time to relax because I got to start packing to leave. But I need to also make time to relax and rest because I have to go to work tomorrow again. I mean, this is 7 days a week. We're talking 6 to 7 weeks in. And I have to go to work again tomorrow. And so I have to make time to relax, because even though technically I'm off the clock, I have a lot of work in here I have to do. I could show you. See, I have to pack all of this stuff up. All of this stuff, like all of this is all mine. There's shit under the table. These are like my clean clothes from my laundry I did last night. I got clothes in the fucking dresser drawers. All these fucking DVDs, this Blu-ray player, all this fucking food right here. I got all this shit, and all this needs to be packed up like soon. So even though technically I'm off the clock, I have work to do. See, I got to pack all this up. I got to pack everything up. I got to make sure I don't leave anything behind. Here's more stuff I need to pack, and then I need to get all this shit into my vehicle. Here's more shit here, It's everywhere. I've got stuff all over the fucking place. So I have to make time to find rest and relaxation. And doing videos, I find relaxation in being able to speak my mind. Even if nobody's there to listen, I don't care. Does that make me crazy? Maybe so, maybe not. Nonetheless, let's get into this video. I wanted to talk about my parents, my ex-girlfriend, some of my other family members, and other people in my life. I wanted to talk about drugs and alcohol. So let's get into this. Okay? Now, first of all, why would I want to talk about my parents and my family and like friends I've had over the years? Very interesting question. Now, you may or may not be aware of this. I am not hardly aware of this myself, but the only reason I'm not really aware of it is because I don't give a fuck. But here is something to consider. I have 29 subscribers. Okay? I don't know who any of these people are. For all I know, one of those subscribers could be my dad, or my mom, my brother, and possibly even one of my stepbrothers or my stepsister. Okay? It could even be like a niece or a nephew, or a step niece and step nephew. I don't know who's subscribed. It could be my ex-girlfriend. It could be like complete strangers. It could be a combination. Now, why would I have family members subscribe to me without me knowing? Like, in a normal situation, like if it was a family member or friend, they'd be like telling me, they'd be commenting in my videos. But no. So I don't know who any of these people are, And it doesn't matter. But what makes me curious is like the possibility that it could be a family member, okay? And the reason it could be this, which many of you are aware, which I'm not, even though I'm not, which reasons I already explained, because I just don't give a fuck, is like a person could go online, like say one of my family members could go online and they could pay a service and have that service look up my name and all my history of social media accounts, and could find this YouTube channel through that, and then just be like secretly watching me. And you think that's weird. You might think that's weird, but really it's not, because my family are estranged. So like, I'll tell you, like, for example, I have not physically seen my father for, oh my gosh, like probably almost 20 years, probably. Yeah. I have not physically seen my father in 20 years. In the last 20 years, I've probably spoken with my father on the phone a total of 5 times. Okay. So like, and when we talk, it's cordial. We laugh and joke or whatever, and talk about current events, and it's hilarious. Like, current events are hilarious, So and we see eye to eye on things regarding current events, and so we'll laugh about how stupid everything is and stuff, and whatever. But at the end of the day, like, he's just that would be like me meeting someone here. So I'm in Texas and I don't live here, and say they're my neighbor in the motel and they're staying here for like a couple weeks, right? And then we start up a random conversation for some random reason. And then we end up kind of hitting it off. Or we're like, hey, did you hear about that weird shit that it was in the news yet? And then we're both like, yeah, that was fucking retarded, dude. That was stupid. And then we're both laughing. Okay, and then, and so then whatever. that person goes about their business, I go about mine, and maybe we run into each other. It's like, hey, what's up, man? Oh, hey, what's up, man? And then, and blah, blah, blah. And then, their 2 weeks stay is done, and then they leave. Maybe we even run into each other, and they say, all right, bro, nice chatting with you. Nice to meet you, man. Have a good life, fucker. It's like, yeah, you too, man. Later, dude. And that's it, right? See, that's the kind of relationship me and my dad have. It's like he's just some dude, whatever. That's it. And the last time I talked to my dad was probably 4 years ago. Yeah, it's like 4 or even maybe between 4 and 5 years ago. Okay. And that was just like a one-time conversation. And like I'm telling you, I've only talked to my dad like on the phone like 5 times in the last 20 years. In the last 18 to 20 years. Okay. I have not physically seen my dad in at least 20 years. Like probably like 20 years. And I've only talked to him on the phone like 5 times in the last 20 years, whatever. So, but see, my dad might be, you don't know. See, I only know my dad on a superficial level. Same with my mom. And to a degree, my brother. And my brother could be watching this. Now, I talk to my mom and my brother more than I talk to my dad. But it's the same thing. It's kind of like, it's the same thing as the analogy I said about some guy staying at this motel. Like, yeah, we'll hit it off and, and talk and shoot the shit and then go on about our business. And that's all it is. It's like, whatever. It's just whatever, It's just kind of whatever. And it's the same with my mom. It's kind of like whatever. We will share some moments here and there, But I do that in the world all the time with my boss, with my coworkers, like with all kinds of people, share moments and like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's just like whatever. Right. And, but like, think about it. If you were a father and you hadn't talked to your son for 20 years with the internet the way it is today, that you could look up your son's name on the internet and find out what social media your son has been doing, and you can find your son's current social media account and go and kind of like watch it, observe it, monitor it and shit. And that's what I mean, like, dude, I'm telling you, like my family could be watching these videos, which is hilarious, And one of the things about that is if they are, they should just tell me, or if it's some friend of mine, So I have friends in many different states in the country because I've moved all my life. Like I'm like growing up from the time I was 1 year old until I was 18, I moved on an average of like once every 2 years, and that probably more like once every year and a half. I was like always moving because my family is like extremely dysfunctional. My mom and my dad are constantly fighting and bad custody battles and all this shit. So I'm like moving all the time. Moving like on average, I'm moving every year and a half from the time I was 1 year old until 18. Okay. Pretty much. And like if my parents, if my dad and or my mom are watching this, they can't argue that. It's like, yeah, that's the truth. And so I've and then because that was how I was growing up, like that's how the rest of my life became. I'm just a nomadic person. When I was 18, by the time I was 18, I was on the street. And then I was hitchhiking. I'd get stuck in a state for like a year, and then hitchhike the fuck out, or get a bus ticket, or spare change a bus ticket, whatever, to get out. And so and I would go, state to state, and I did that for 10 years. And during that 10 years, I didn't have any relationships with anybody, including my mom and my dad. Like they completely disowned me, And, right or wrong, I don't know. I don't care what their opinion, I don't care what my mom and dad's opinion is. Like if their opinion is, well, we had to because you were smoking marijuana and stuff, and so we had to. That could be their opinion. What's funny? Like they smoke marijuana now, because I grew up during the say no to drugs era. And so my mom and my dad were very strict about smoking weed when I was 16 years old, which, right or wrong, who am I to say? Maybe they're right, maybe they weren't. I don't know. But now they smoke weed. Now weed is cool. And like it's just ridiculous. So it's just whatever. People are people, and I encounter people that are just total fucking assholes, and it's like, what do you do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What should you do? There really isn't nothing to do except for stay away from them. And arguably, my parents are fucking assholes. They're just fucking assholes. Like and anyways, and so, but I mean, they are and they aren't. I mean, it is what it is. Whatever. I mean. If my mom wants to have contact with me, I will be friendly and cordial, and I will be loving and honest and tolerant and stuff, and that's fine. At the same time, I will have to put up boundaries. Like if my mom wants to start lecturing me on how I should be living my life, I'm not gonna tolerate it. I'll just be like, well, Ma, I hate to cut it short, but I gotta go. I'll call you later, though. All right, love you, bye. It's like, whatever. Like, I'm not, And, you gotta remember, my parents are boomers. They are like the definition of a typical boomer is my parents. And boomers are... Basically, at this point, boomers are just socially retarded people that are, their expiration date is up. Like, it's time for them to move on. And, that's it, And, boomers can live in delusion and pretend like they have all the answers to everything and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, your typical boomer is just like totally checked the fuck out. They do not understand modern times at all, and their time is done, And I'm Gen X, I'm 51. Pretty soon I'm going to be in the same boat, I'm right behind them. And who knows what things will be like if I live as long as my mom and dad are now. Who knows? Dude, like it could be apocalyptic. Half of the fucking planet could have fucking, been nuked. And I'm living in a fucking fallout and shit, by the time I'm my parents' age. Who knows, Whatever. But like, I don't know if they're watching, which is funny, okay? And so here's like some stuff about me. Now, I could say this, right? And if you don't know me, there's at least a 50-50 chance you wouldn't believe what I'm about to say if you don't know me. But like people who truly know me, like they know to their bones that it's true, okay? And that is that I don't do drugs or drink alcohol, and I haven't for, it'll be 24 years next month. Next month, it'll be 24 years that I have not drank alcohol, smoked weed, or done any other mind-altering intoxicant. 24 years, okay? That's whatever too. Like, who cares, right? And I if you don't care, trust me, I don't care that you don't care. I really don't. But it's like whatever though, right? Whatever. So, and so here's some other stuff. Like I'll never say my mom's name. So nobody knows who my mom is, right? So if my mom is watching and I sit here and start talking, and I start talking about my mom, well, nobody else knows who I'm talking about except for my mom. Now, if my dad is also watching and they're both secretively, and I'm telling you, this is totally possible. Well, then my dad's going to know I'm talking about my mom, of course. But, and if my brother is watching, well, yeah, my brother is going to know. If my step siblings are watching, well, then actually, my step siblings don't even know who my mom is. They never even met her, or maybe once in their life, And so, including like my stepmom, anyways, whatever. But so there's a chance that these people could be watching and maybe even have been for a long time. Okay. Which is weird to me, is like, whoa, the possibility. And then also people that I've gotten close with over the years that I'm hardly anywhere close to them than I used to be, could be watching my channel, because it's that easy to find me. All they have to do is pay one of these internet services, and that internet service will look me up and then tell them my social media history, and it will include this channel, and so they could watch it, right? So this is all very fascinating to me, because check this out. Check it out. Okay. So because what I do on this channel is I talk about shit that I just speak my mind, where I don't really do that. I don't do that with look, let me put it to you this way. For example, with my mom, for example. I'll speak my mind with my mom up to a point, but I know where the line is. And so there's a lot of shit I won't talk about with my mom that I'll talk about on my channel, right? And it's same with anybody, my brother, my dad, people from my past that I used to be close friends with, And not that I'm not close friends with them now, but it's just, distance. I'm a stranger in a strange land. There's people that I've been friends with and, close friends with that I haven't talked to for years. That doesn't mean I don't like them or I'm less close to them, but if we haven't talked hardly at all for the last 4 or 5 years, well, and so, but I have people like that in my life who I won't talk to them about the shit I talk about on my videos, So anyways, this is all funny to me, because shit that I wouldn't talk about with people, those very people have access to my videos. Okay, now, I don't really care, I don't care. Because, mainly because I don't really have anything to lose, if they don't want to be my friend because I have a different perspective than them, or we disagree on certain things, well, then that's their business. I don't care. Sure, that sucks, but whatever. Here's something else about me that you probably wouldn't believe, but people that know me know that it's true. I have tons of fucking friends, and I have a massive fucking network of people, a genuine network. And so if one person or 3 people, and even including my mom, my mom and my dad, my dad, I've already been through all that. My parents fucking, they wrote me off for dead before I even turned 18. They could give a fuck if I died in the streets of homelessness. It was that's how fucking stupid the whole thing is. And so, but I still talk to for example, my mom, even though that's what happened, my mom just didn't even give a fuck if I died in the streets of homeless poverty or not. That's how much she cared, even though that's what happened. Like I still talk to her, and I don't ever argue with her. I'm not disrespectful to her. I'm cordial, etc., etc. But at the same time, like I have my own life, and there I won't, like, if she wants to start talking about weird shit, I don't even have to be honest with. I can just lie to her and say, "Mom, I have to go. My boss is calling me." I'll just lie to her. I don't care. It's like, you know, and see, I don't have anything to lose. Like my relationships with my family are mostly just superficial. It's just superficial. There is nothing there, you know. Whereas I have relationships with other people that we don't even have a blood relation, and it goes far beyond anything superficial, right? And I have a large network of people like that in my life. So it's just kind of whatever, right? And so, but anyways, so like I don't like there's so there's people like this. Here's another example, like my last ex-girlfriend. And I've talked a lot about this over the years, over the last 3 years, about what happened with my ex. Here's the thing. I don't know how many hours of content I've done on it. And there might be 0.0001% of that content where I mentioned her name, like her full name. I may have mentioned it one time in like this sea of like 20 or 30 hours or more of content. And that might sound crazy that I would talk that much about it, but it involved a murder investigation, arson, death threats, and all kinds of other wacky shit. It was like one of the craziest things I ever seen in my life, the breakup between me and her. It's the kind of shit you would see on Forensic Files or something. The only difference is I survived. She didn't murder me kind of shit, right? But nobody knows who I'm talking about when I'm talking about my ex-girlfriend. Like, nobody does. Unless she is watching my channel, because like I said, like, she knows my full name. She could go online and look up my social media history and find this channel and subscribe and watch. Now, would she? I don't know. Would she do that? I don't know. Would I care? No. Like no. And the thing is so, like, I could talk mad shit about her, right? But nobody even knows who I'm talking about. So what does it matter? I could make up lies about her, But if I'm not clarifying who I'm talking about, nobody even knows who I'm talking about. So who cares? Like, what does it matter? And and it was totally insane. What happened between me and her was like extreme insane shit. Like, it's crazy, And but anyways, so going back to just me and stuff. Okay, like, for example, I don't smoke weed. I haven't smoked weed or drank alcohol or done any other mind altering substances and or intoxicants for almost 24 years. It'll be 24 years in November, right? And if you don't know me, then you may believe it, you may not, And like, my dad doesn't really know me, so if you were watching, he may or may not believe it. My mom may or may not believe it, but see, I don't care. But the thing is like, like, going into the subject of drugs and alcohol, drugs and alcohol are stupid. Okay, if you've ever heard of the band Minor Threat, it's an old punk band from the 80s. And what Minor Threat, they're a straight edge punk band. They're like the quintessential straight edge punk band. Like, if you were to look at their lyrical content, like, they mock people that do drugs and alcohol. And I tend to agree with a lot of their sentiment. Like the majority of people that drink alcohol and do drugs and stuff, they're fucking stupid. They're stupid, and they're making themselves stupid, you know. And this society, this is a conspiracy, a conspiracy. Like they want all of you doing drugs and drinking because they know it makes you stupid, and the more they can get people drunk and stoned and intoxicated on DMT and all LSD and all this shit, the more easy they can control all of you people. And yeah, so the majority of people that drink and do drugs and do mind altering substances and mind altering intoxicants, they're fucking stupid. Like for doing so, it's a stupid thing to do, is what I'm saying. And the more a person does it, the more stupid they become. And if you see, I've been on both sides of the tracks. I used to do heroin and smoke crack and drink alcoholically and any and everything I could get my hands on, right? And then, so I've been on that side of the track, and then I've been completely abstinent from all of it for almost 24 years. So I've been on both sides of it, okay? And like, people that are involved in, okay, you have a very small percentage of people who can engage in that, like smoking weed and doing DMT and drinking. You have a very, very small, tiny, minute percentage of people in the world that are able to do it, and it doesn't make them go full retard, okay? But the majority of people on this planet, they can't handle mind-altering substances at all. I being one of them, okay? I can't handle it. That's why I don't do it anymore. And like all these people that can't handle these substances like alcohol, weed, DMT, meth, crack, heroin, fentanyl, all this stuff, like they're nothing but drama. They're just like these black holes of insane, retarded drama. That's all it is. They're just fucking, just one dramatic thing after another, after another, after another. It's like a soap opera times 100. Everything is a big dramatic thing, and it's always dramatic and drama, and it's fucking, and it's gay, dude. And you know, there are very few people in the world that can partake of this stuff and not go full retard. And the ones that can partake of this stuff and not go full retard, they hardly ever do it. Like they'll drink a beer with their dinner. That's it. They'll smoke a bowl once a night while they're jamming with their friends on acoustic guitars or something. And you know, maybe 5 times a week, or they'll smoke a couple bowls like 3 to 5 times a week or less, you know. They'll do DMT maybe a few times, but they'll also do LSD and mushrooms. But when they do these things, it's like once a year or once every couple of years. You know, they might do a line of coke few times in a 5-year period. You know, these people, they just do it whatever. It doesn't consume them. The majority of the people in the world, they can't just have a beer with dinner. They have to follow it up with 12 more, and that's like 4 to 7 days a week. They can't just smoke a bowl at night, you know, 3 to 5 times a week. No, they're smoking fucking 3 or 4 joints a day and doing a line of coke once a week or 4 times a week, and blasting off on DMT once a month or once every 3 weeks, and you know, doing LSD every 3 months. And you know, most people are they just go full retard on this stuff, right? And all those people that go full retard on drugs and alcohol, there's constant drama around them all the time. They're always wailing about something, or they're always over ecstatic about something. They're always like diving headfirst into some retarded drama all the time. They're constantly creating drama, lying, cheating, stealing, always lying to themselves. They have no self-awareness, on and on. Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. And it's just it's absurd. That's the one of the big absurdities of your society, is just like all these people, they just go full retard. Everything is just retard. And it's really bizarre. And like going back to like that straight edge band, Minor Threat, they're totally right about the concept of straight edge. If a person doesn't do these things, like if a person just doesn't smoke weed, doesn't do DMT, doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't eat mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms, and all this stuff, if a person just cuts all that out of their life, they have an edge over the majority of people around them. They have an edge. They can think clearer. They can think quicker. They're wittier. They're faster. They can comprehend things, more complex things than your average person. Like everything, they have an edge in just about everything. Okay. Whereas your average person that drinks and smokes weed and stuff, they do not have an edge. But they often think they do. So anyways, so all of this, I just wanted to go into all of this just for myself, and this is the truth, this is the truth that people don't want to hear. And I smoke cigarettes, yeah. If I weren't smoking cigarettes, I'd be vaping. If I weren't vaping, I'd be, I'd be addicted to porn. You can be addicted to all kinds of shit. Money. Look at how many people are addicted to money and are addicted to fame and are addicted to food and are addicted to power. I mean, dude, like addiction to money is so fucking disgusting. People that are addicted to wealth. People that are addicted to, prestige. Look at me. Look at how prestigious like all these things. This is all disgusting, gluttonous fucking retardation, And nobody's perfect, So I smoke cigarettes. This is like my vice. This is one of my only vices. I have very few vices, and cigarettes just happen to be one, But I would rather my vice was cigarettes than that I were addicted to money, where my vice was money. Like, no, poverty protects me from a lot of stuff. Like that's why religious people, they what is that called when they make an oath of poverty? What is it called? Maybe that's what it is, oath of poverty, and like oaths to celibacy, shit like this. But so anyways, but yeah, no, I don't know how to tie all this together. I don't even know what I was thinking. These are just things I wanted to talk about. I mean, this shit's crazy to me, And going back to like all these people that could potentially be watching my channel, one thing that would be weird about that is that they wouldn't tell me, that they would be like secretly watching. And I'm talking about like close, like people like my family. Like if my mom or my dad were secretly watching me, that would be really fucking weird. And I've got some shit to say to you. Like you guys are fucking, you sucked as parents and you did. And you still haven't admitted it. And that's okay. I don't care. But you're failures, You're failures as parents, And that's okay, just like 80% of all the other fucking parents of the boomer generation were failures. You're just another one. So what? I mean, statistically, that's totally normal, So what, Look around, It's not a big deal. What's funny though is that my parents could never admit it to this day. They're so proud. They're so obsessed with pride They just don't want to admit that they failed as parents, which is fine, whatever. That's cool. I don't care either way. Admit it or don't. I really don't give a shit, right? And it's the same with like if I'm talking like close friends, like people I've known for many years that I haven't seen for a handful of years. Like if they're secretly watching, that's weird too. It's like, why would you not just tell me you're watching my channel? And also like my ex. Well, my ex is totally. I don't even know her, so I thought I knew her until the death of Todd Minshaw and the death threat and the mysterious fire that burnt our home down along with half of the block. Coincidentally, 1 week after the death threat, like, yeah, that person. I don't even know. I don't. If I do know her, then she's schizophrenic. Like she has multiple personalities, and she hid her schizophrenia from me, and then she just popped like a balloon, and her alter ego just like came out of nowhere. It's like, whoa, who the fuck are you? So either I don't know her at all, or she's like a schizophrenic. And if that's the case, like I feel bad for her, and if that's the case, I would have liked to have been able to done more to, help her through her schizophrenia. But I don't know anything about her, about what's going on with her. I don't, and that was 3 years ago. So at this point, it's like whatever. But like that she could be watching me, fuck, dude. Like it could very possible that she's subscribed to my channel. And other people that I know personally in the flesh that could be watching my channel and I don't know it. And I don't care either way, but I would say that is kind of weird. That's a little weird, but if you do know me, you know I'm a forgiving person. Like I don't care. It's like whatever. In a general way, I'm forgiving. Now, if somebody puts a death threat out on me and then a week later my ship burns down, we're going to have some serious fucking problems. Like, I might forgive you, but you'll never see me again. You'll never see me again. Like, So there are exceptions. I can be forgiving, but that doesn't mean I have to engage in any kind of relationship whatsoever, even if it's just cordially friendly. I don't have to be cordially friendly to anybody, including my own fucking family. Like, why would I? Why should I? Well, because that's your. Yeah, you don't know anything about me. Because if you do know anything about me, you know that that's all bullshit. Like I said, I have a massive network of fucking people in my life, that know me, that truly know me. So I don't need, if I am doing it, it's out of the goodness and the kindness of my, not goodness, but the kindness of my heart that I'm still interacting with you. It's because, you're not entitled to it at all. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're not entitled to have anything to do with me at all. Like, fuck off, for real. So anyway, just some bullshit to take my mind off of work, but I guess I got to go back to work. I've got plenty of shit to do, so see you, boys.